Hey guys, it's Max. How's everyone doing today? It's about 2:30. The market closes in about a half hour. There's Jackson. Hey Jackson. Market closes in about a half hour. I wanted to do look at a few option things while the market's still open. Um, so let's do this. This is bone up on options. All right, so something I do lots of times to get ideas for trades, and I got one just now as I look at the unusual activity on barchart.com. So, Celsius Holdings, CELH. Has anyone heard of it? Good boy, Jackson. Good boy. Well, of course, my computer's frozen when I go live. Jesus Christ. You got to be kidding me. Anyway, it was on Unusual Holdings this morning. And I believe Jay had it in the Wasn't this in the Alti portfolio last week? Well, anyway, we're going to look at that, and we're also going to look at GME. I showed you guys a GME trade last week, and it's up. It's up a couple $100 today. Here's a stock chart of GME. GME's looking good today. Okay, so let's look at this GME trade, and then the reason I'm talking about it is we're gonna look at the same kind of trade in the Celsius. Okay, so this GME trade is right here. It's loaded dice. I called it loaded dice YOLO. It's up $169 right now. It's a super simple trade. You sell two puts. You sell a put spread. Sell one put, buy a put. Sell a put spread. Use the money to finance a call. You bring in a $96 credit. Right now, you're up $170. You kind of basically have a free little shot at some upside here. If this is the week GME goes to 40, which who knows if it is, this little trade be worth $1,000. But if it isn't, it still makes 96. The only thing it can't do is drop too much. This trade right now has a 96% chance of profit. Had about a 72% chance when I recommended it to you guys on Thursday. We're going to put on the same type of trade in Celsius. So watch this. We're going to go to build bull put spread. That was CELH, right? Yeah. Okay. So why don't we just sell the 27 and a half? How about for this week? Maybe for next week. This week's kind of a short week. Sell the 27 and a half, buy the 25. We could do that. Let me keep messing with this a little bit. All right. Okay, so we could do that 3 times, make about $100. If we're wrong, we lose 350. The thing is, the stock would have to move against us 7.2% before we lose money. So it's a trade with a huge head start. All right, bull put spread. But if we want some upside, which I always like upside, I don't like capped upside. Sometimes, depending on the deal, you can get you some upside. Okay, something like this might make a nice trade. It's not big enough. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Something like that might make a nice trade. Risk about $800. You make $100. You get $118 instantly. And you get to keep the $118 as long as this stock doesn't drop by next Friday, doesn't drop below about 27.78. So now let's look at a stock chart and see what we're asking it to do. Celsius Holdings. It's been on a little tear lately. It bounced. It came down to 25 and bounced. All right. So you're just saying, hey, this is essentially a bet. We'll put a line on the chart. If you aren't bullish or you don't think it can do this, this is not the trade for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Right there. All right. And that's the right scale timing wise. So this chart right here can zig and zag and zig and zag. It just can't get under this line by this date. And if as long as it stays on this side of it, it's a full profit. And let's see where the big profit starts. Where you get some extra profit over 34. So here's the blast off zone. It's kind of like this isn't this trade's not called a collar or anything, but this has the effect of a collar. I mean, not really, but it, this has the effect of like an Evel Knievel jumping ramp is what this has the effect of. Most option strategies don't have a freaking thing at the end where you can freaking take off. That's what I like about that. All right, so let's look at some of these other trades. Here's a trade I showed, the same type of trade I showed you how to do, and here we're jumping off the motorcycle ramp. This was an earnings trade at the end of last week. We did it to expire this week in John Deere, and you can see they've jumped off the edge of the ramp. This one's up about $3,000. Now that's the good news. The bad news is we didn't know if this would be bullish earnings or bearish earnings. So we also made a bearish, motorcycle ramp, and we're down 2,600 on this side. But anyway, between the two of them, the trade is up $500 or so. Now, also, I showed you guys one in Williams-Sonoma, and we're well into the motorcycle ramp on this one. Evel Knievel's about halfway up the ramp. Boom. They always talk about in technical analysis or in stock market books and trading books, letting your winners run. Well, in options, it's hard to let your winners run, especially when you sell options, because when you sell options, you have capped upside. You used to have capped upside. But when you do something synthetic like this, you can sell an option, earn some option income, and have partially uncapped upside. And this is an example of when it works out. It doesn't always work out. I've shown you some of these trades, and they've been spectacular losers. Just because, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. There's one or two of them that were lost $1,000. But there's not a lot you can do about it. Like, let's see what else we have. Let me think of another. Okay, this loaded dice YOLO in GME is the one I want to talk about. It's up 180 right now. See that? We'll look at the individual positions and kind of see how this was constructed. So we sold a 25 put for 60 cents. Okay, and we bought a 23 put just as a hedge for 10 cents. 60 minus 10 is 50 cents. We received $50 to do that. We did this 3 times. 50 times 3 is $150. Okay. Then that's puts. That's a trade there. We have a cushion, but we have totally capped upside when we do this trade. So we made another leg to this trade. We switched it from a 2-legged trade to a three-leg trade and call it, this is a risk reversal, and we're reversing the risk because we're selling puts to earn money, and then we're going to take some of that money and buy a call. So at the time, this call was trading around 50 cents. So brought in around 150, paid around 50 cents for a call. So then the trade still has an income of $96. It had a buffer when I put it on of like 7%, and had like a 70% chance of profit. Now it has a 95% chance of profit, but you can stick with it because if GME keeps going up, this doesn't expire until Friday, and this can keep making money. You can look right now, the profit and loss graph right now at this point in time basically looks like stock. It's just straight up. But also, right now this trades up about $180. Should GME not move the rest of the week, then this trade would settle into the flat spot, and you would just make the $96 premium you found, or you earned off the get-go. All right, so I'm going to post these trades to the comments in case anyone wants to do. Let's look at this trade again. All right, I forgot to save the Celsius trade, but I'll go back and do it real quick again. I'll probably be able to do it better this time. I wasn't that crazy with that. There's a little bit more that goes into doing these than it might look like. Appreciate your patience. All right, so this way has a 68% chance of profit, $68 income on $367 risk. Let me jack with it just a second or two longer. All right, this is looking a little better. So it's just not big enough. This is the same thing we did last time, basically. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Now this, make sure you're bullish on this stock, but this would be a decent way to try to make $100 here over the next couple of weeks. This doesn't expire until next Friday. Bring in about $100 today. Total risk is $1,000 if you're wrong. That's the bad news. But the good news is you don't start being wrong until this stock drops under 27.32. So it's a little bit better break even than the last one. This is a little bit better trade here. So we're going to call this bullish. Also, if you know something about this stock and you're bearish, a person could construct the same trade in reverse. Now let's look back. So yeah, that's not a bad looking trade. I will post that to the comments as soon as the live stream's done. Or actually, I can post it right now. I can post it in the live stream comments. Market's still open for 15 more minutes. That's not a bad looking trade. Let's see. Existing trade, copy link. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm sure there's no one here. I didn't pre-publicize this. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Sometimes I do these option shows so late in the day, and then by the time I post them, even if someone watched them, they don't have time to put the trade on. So if anyone wants to do that trade, there it is. Um, appreciate that, Grateful Trader. Appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Does that stand for South Austin Red Sox or South? Anyway, we've talked about that before, and you've told me before, and I forgot. Typical. All right. Well, I'm going to look back at the market and see what else is going on here. I have construction going on in my house today. You can probably hear behind me. But anyway, we'll just paper trade that trade. That's probably not the greatest trade. I'm going to move the line down a little bit lower to reflect the better break-even price. But that's not the worst trade either. I've seen a lot worse ways to try to make 10% in 2 weeks. You know, that's not the worst way. All right. Well, let's look at the buffer report and see what. Since you guys are here, you probably want to see that. Hey, Jackson, come here. Jackson. It's the mailman, but it's fine. All right, so let's check out the buffer report. Man, look at this. Another day, another SMCI up 10%, SMCY, whatever. Look at Bobo catching all the upside and then some. Snowy catching all that beautiful upside. Murney catching about half of it, but look at this. Coney catching all of it and then some. That's awesome. That's a good looking, those are some pretty good looking results today. I mean, Bobo and SMCI and Snowy, I mean, just murdering it. Look at OARK is beating their parent. All right, so let's look at the indexes and see what's going on. SPY doesn't really look like much is happening. Really, I guess the only thing you could really say too much is JEPI is killing it. JEPI and XDTE are the funds of the day, and FEPI. Well, and triple QI. All right, those are the funds of the day. So let's look over here, see how Alti's doing. All right, Alti's up 40 bips, where their stocks that are in Alti are up about twice as much. You can see HIMS having a great day. I mean, there's lots of stuff having a great day. I mean, look at this. Foot Locker's up nearly 7%. Target's up 5%. Upstart's up 8%. Hell of a day. Anyway, I'm sorry it's so noisy here. I didn't know it was going to be so noisy. It just seemed to get super noisy there for a second. Okay, so we could also look at the Alti grid. It's not that interesting. It shows you what kind of trades they have on, and they're all callers, which is a very nice trade. There's one trade that's not a caller, and it's a call spread. But I'll keep an eye on all this stuff, of course. I just wanted to come on here and do the option trade during the day in case anyone wants to put it on while the market's still open. I'm going to look at one other thing. Let's look at option market overview. Unusual option activity target, blah, blah, blah. Most active options, top cover call ideas. Sometimes you can find good stocks down here to do these types of trades that I like to do on. Jackson, knock it off. I could have sworn I found Celsius here. Yeah, there it is. Unusual option activity. So look at this. So I think that it depends on how they set it, but usually it means the open interest is at least 10x of the day before, and the volume is or something. It's just where there's an explosion of open interest and or volume all of a sudden. Open interest specifically, not just volume. Open interest, like people putting on positions. Well, anyway, for some reason, people are loading up on calls in the one that I just showed you guys, this CELH. Now, here's a chart of it. it's been pulling back like crazy lately. Maybe it's getting ready to bottom on the daily. The daily chart's been pulling back. I realize we looked at the 30-minute chart a little while ago. 30-minute chart's been bouncing. The daily chart, when you look at like a 5-year daily chart, you can see it's kind of an ugly chart. But I mean, maybe this is putting in a bottom here, and maybe that's why people are buying it, and that's why it's on the unusual activities report. Jackson, get over here, buddy. Anyway, this is something interesting. We're gonna definitely keep an eye on this thing. It has really high IV, of course, because people are buying its options. Maybe because there's something going on, maybe not. But anyway, it makes it where we can. Here, I'm going to pull it up again. It makes it where we can put on a trade like this, give ourselves an instant profit where we get $100 so we can take ourselves to dinner tonight, and but then set ourselves up with a decent looking trade should the bottom be in and this thing turn around. And in the shorter time frames on this chart, the shorter time frames, it looks like it does. But, you know, even if you're wrong, I mean, you could take some solace knowing that you have to be wrong by more than 7.5%. It has to drop under 27.32. But then if that happens, you're wrong. So, but if you bought stock, you know, you could buy the stock also, and then you're wrong instantly. Doing it with options gives you a huge buffer, but you still have a lot of the upside that the stock has. Okay, so I'll stop harping on that. But I shared that trade with you. I hope you guys like it. I was going to check and see how everyone's doing. All right, well, good. Well, I'm sorry I didn't publicize this, but I just wanted to come on really quick and get this on here before the end of the day. I might even do another update. An end of day update. I might do an end of day update here in an hour. All right. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you.